Assalamu alaikum. Today we will explain Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. First of all, Erikson's theory was uh, about psychosocial developments, and Erikson said that personality develops in a predetermined order of 8 stages. He explained that there are 8 stages in the psychosocial development of an individual, and the order of these 8 stages is predetermined. He was interested in how children socialize and how this affect their sense of self. यानी इन्वायरमेंट का सोसाइटी का एक इंडिविजुअल पर क्या अफेक्ट्स होते हैं, and the completion of successful completion of all these stages results in better interaction of the individual with the environment, with encouraging the positive behavior of individual and the healthy development of personality. And in case of failure, the personality of individual is reduced, and he have unhealthy personality. Let us have a look of all these stages described by Erikson. These stages include trust versus mistrust, that from which a little infant, little child, a newborn baby pass through this stage. And then the next stage is early childhood, that is autonomy versus shame and doubt. The characteristics of either autonomy or shame or doubt develop in the individual. And then next stage is also known as preschool stage, in which the that include the in initiative versus guilt. Either the individual felt encouraging in initiating a particular step, or he felt guilt. And the next stage that includes the school age uh, stage. It also known as industry versus inferiority. Either student, if student is or individual is encouraged, he become industrious. If he is discouraged, he feel inferiority in his society. And the adolescence stage, that uh, that includes identity or role confusion. Either the individual uh, recognize himself, or he become confused about his own personality, about his own existence. And the next stage is intimacy versus isolation, and in which an individual find his make relationships for his future. And the next stage is that is in middle adulthood, is the uh, generativity or stagnation. And the next is maturity at the stage which includes integrity or despair, in which it is the last and final stage, in which either the uh, either the individual becomes satisfied about his life, or he become despair at the end. Let us explain all these stages one by one. The first stage, trust versus mistrust. It actually, in our syllabus, it is mentioned, its period is mentioned from 0 to 1 year. Actually, in somewhere books, the 10 year is stated as 18th month. 18 month. It is the first stage and in which the infant either comes to view other people and himself or herself as trustworthy or comes to develop a fundamental distrust of his or her environment, यानी जिन लोगों के साथ उसका इंटरेक्ट होता है वो उन पर अपना ट्रस्ट डेवलप करता है अपनी सिक्योरिटी के अकॉर्डिंग, अपनी सिक्योरिटी के मुतल्लिक, एंड इन मैनी अदर वेज ही tries to become to develop his trust. In case of successful development of the stage, the infant develop confidence and security in the world, about his life, about his feelings, and in every and each case. And if in the this stage is not passed successfully, there is inability to trust and sense of fear about inconsistent world. The individual remain inconsistent and feel horror and fear in the world. In this case, the the individual feel anxiety, heightened insecurities, and over mistrusting others. Now it is explained by the diagram that major question at this stage is, can I trust the people around me? And when the important event in this stage is feeding, that mostly the mother feeds to her children, to her infant, and mostly the infants feel more secure to his mother. And it is mostly observed that a little infant feel disturbance, he feel and experience disturbance in the hands of any other person than his or her mom. Then next stage there is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This stage lasts from start from 18 months and lasts for the 3 years, and it is the second stage in which children focus on developing a greater sense of self-control. He control his senses and his physically and physiologically tries to control himself, and he begin to assert their independence, and if encouraged, individual become more secure and confident in ability to survive. If criticized and over controlled, inadequate in their ability to survive, it results in over dependence on other, lack self-esteem, and feel shame or doubt in their abilities. यानी द जो बच्चे होते हैं, दे develop a sense of independence in themselves, and if the last stage has passed successfully, then the child uh, feel uh, independent, and he feel more secure. And in case of failure, उसका सेल्फ स्टीम गिर जाता है. he feel shame or doubt about his abilities, and about his uh, personality, about himself. And the next, in here it is described with the help of a diagram, that when picking out her own clothes and dressing herself, when a child is picking her own clothes and is dressing herself and choosing her toys by her own, results in the better development and in encouragement. And if he is not allowed to do this, his parents select clothes for him or her, or his toys are chosen by their parents, then the personality is not betterly developed for such individuals. Next stage is initiative versus guilt. That starts from the 3 years and lasts for the sixth year of the individual, and it is the third stage of Erikson's psychosocial development, in which children assert themselves more frequently through directing play and other social interaction. They plan activities, play games, and initiate activities. Mean in this stage they learn how to plan the activities, and how they learn how they will the their analytical abilities are developed in this stage, and their practical uh, intelligence and analytical uh, intelligence is developed at this stage. The successful development in this stage, third stage, initiative versus guilt, the children exert themselves more frequently through directing play and other social interactions. They plan activities, play games, and initiate activities. In case of successful development, uh, the sense of initiative lead other and make decisions. And in case of failure, children develop a sense of guilt. Such individuals remain followers, lacking in self initiative. Their abilities are suppressed. Now here it is explained by a diagram that a psychosocial in a psychosocial conflict, a major question is, am I good or bad about one's personality? And the important event that occur in this stage is exploration and play. Exploration about own personality, about own characters. The next stage is industry versus inferiority, that starts from the sixth year of the individual and lasts until puberty, and it is the fourth stage. In this stage, children develop a sense of pride, see them through competition, and feel good about achievements. It is actually a school stage in which the students and the individual work hard uh, and tries to make good and better achievements. In this stage, children enter into the greater society beyond the family for the first time. So it is the most important stage uh, of the psychosocial development. If the individuals are encouraged, they feel industrious and feel confident. Mean they make more efforts to get achievements if they are encouraged, and if they are discouraged and restricted in their life, then their development does not occur properly, and due to this abnormality they feel doubt about their own abilities. Here explained by a diagram, that in this stage the major question that an individual asks from his or her self is that how can I be good or bad. He tries to make and he make efforts to be a good person, to bring good characters in herself or himself. Then here is the fifth stage of the Erikson's psychosocial theory, that starts from the puberty and lasts until the 20 years. During this stage, It is the stage transition from childhood to adulthood, and the children are becoming more independent and begin to look their future in terms of career, relationships, and the families. Mean they are now uh, enough mature to think about their future, about their career, about their future life. Individual explore possibilities and form their identity, and this stage is characterized by the question of who am I. The individual tries to identify himself, and in this stage, if if the individual is encouraged, then he become more confident about his future. He betterly identifies himself, and there are good qualities uh, and the better development of personality in such individuals. And the major question in this stage, as discussed earlier, is that who am I? And the basic virtue is the fidelity. Important event is the social relationships, mean the individual develops social relationships at this stage of life. The sixth stage is intimacy or isolation, that starts from the 20 year of the age of individual and lasts until 35 years, and it is occurring in the young adulthood. We begin to share ourselves more intimately with others, uh, and we explore relationships leading towards long-term commitments. Success at this stage lead to fulfilling relationships and sense of commitment, safety, and care for relationships. Mean at this stage, the relationships we have made, we tries to make them better and to make them strong, and avoiding intimacy, fearing commitments, and the relationships can be lead to isolation, loneliness, and sometimes depression. That the failed individual at this stage of life usually feel loneliness and depression, and the success candidates uh, of the stage lead to fulfilling the relationships and sense of commitment, safety, and care of for the relationships. Here, major question is given that will I be loved or will I be alone? Whether I will be loved or hated, it is the main question of the stage of the psychosocial development, and the basic virtue of the stage is love, and the important event is romantic relationships that an individual established uh, for the for his life partner. Then the seventh stage is the generativity and stagnation, that starts from 35 years and lasts until the 45th years of life. The seventh stage, and uh, what is the generativity? Generativity was explained by Erikson as a concern for the establishing and guiding the next generation. It's time to give back to society, becoming involved in community activities and organization. In this stage of life, the individual tries to guide his children and all the young youth of the society, and he become involved in other activities of the society, and he tries to pay back to pay back to the society according to his abilities. By failing, the individual becomes stagnant and feel unproductive. He feel shame for being unproductive in the society. Here we have the explanation. The major question is, how can I contribute to the world? How can I bring improvements in my society? And the important event is uh, parenthood and work. Mean majorly the uh, most of people spend this stage of life by caring and by guiding their own children. The most important basic virtue of the stage is care. The last stage, uh, the final stage, is ego, integrity versus despair, that starts from the 46th year of the life and lasts until the death of the person. And its eighth stage, and in which individual tend to slow down his productivity and explore life as a retired person. At this stage, the individual contemplate his accomplishment and develop integrity. If he himself as a leading if he himself was leading a successful life. If the individual life is unproductive, he feel guilt about past, dissatisfied with life, and develop despite. And in other case, he consider himself to be satisfied. Here we have a diagram. That major question of the stage is, did I live a meaningful life, or I spent a meaningless life? The basic virtue of the stage is wisdom, and the important event is reflecting back on life by considering the past events of the life. That's all about the Erikson's development, psychosocial development theory. Thank you for watching video. Uh, Please suggest improvements about my videos. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.